Okay, I'm going to bake the Brazo de Mercedes, and these are all the ingredients which I put in place. In France, it's called mise en place. You have all of the things that you need before you start baking. In a bowl of stand mixer are 6 egg whites at room temperature. I'm going to use the whisk, okay, for this. There's also 3/4 cup of sugar, and then cream of tartar. And I'm going to add half teaspoon of cream of tartar. So all of these are the meringue ingredients. The filling ingredients are 10 egg yolks, a teaspoon of pure vanilla extract, a can of condensed milk. It's a US brand, 14 ounces or 396 grams. And to these, I'm going to zest half of the lemon to add extra flavor. The filling mixture is going to be cooked over a double boiler. I don't want cooking it, especially if it's custard, directly over heat because you're not able to control. And if it gets overheated, it's just gonna burn. So I cook it over a double boiler. And the tools are the following. You will need 1 cookie sheet or jelly roll pan. This is about 18 by, I'm not sure about the dimensions, roughly about 18 by 10, I think. Okay, but let me get, it's the long cookie sheet pan. I also have an extra pan with a clean bottom and a parchment for flipping the cooked meringue later, or the baked meringue. The parchment paper, I have to grease the bottom of the pan and the sides of the pan, put the parchment paper, and then grease it again. In this way, the meringue is easier to be removed from the pan. The other tools which I prepared are you need the whisk for the egg yolk mixture, it's a big angled spatula to be able to distribute the meringue on the pan. Okay, this will be another angled spatula to spread the filling over the meringue, and I need a couple of rubber spatula for mixing or for taking out my ingredients out of the bowl and transferring them to the pan. Okay, then I'm gonna start with the mixing process of the meringue. Finally, I am going to make the Brazo de Mercedes that I promised you. The meringue is very simple. It only has 3 ingredients. In a bowl of a stand mixer, I have 10 egg whites at room temperature. I have the whisk, and I have 3/4 cup of sugar and cream of tartar, half teaspoon. In the normal meringue process, especially in making of chiffon or other meringue based baked products, the normal procedure of making the meringue is to add half teaspoon of the cream of tartar to the egg whites and whisk that until it's foamy, and then rain in the sugar, gradually rain in the sugar and then whisk it or mix it until you have the consistency of a melted marshmallow, the color and consistency of a melted marshmallow. I've learned over the years of making meringue that actually it's simpler to just have all the ingredients together in the bowl and start whisking. It is a cleaner process. You actually eliminate when you rain in the sugar, it tends to splatter, or to spread all over the sides of the bowl, and then you have to clean it up with a spatula. So you have to stop the mixing process. If you have all of the components together and whisk it, there is no stopping, and I found it to be cleaner, and actually it will have a better meringue. So I've used this process over the years because I thought it to be more efficient and easier to have them all together. Corn powder? Okay. So like I said, I put all the ingredients together in the bowl. Half teaspoon of cream of tartar and all of the sugar. Okay, and whisk. I start with 4 and gradually increase the speed to 6. So this is how the meringue started. Okay, it's right now the color is yellow, a little bit whitish yellow because of the color of the egg whites. And after probably about 10 minutes of mixing, this will turn into melted marshmallow-like consistency. So now the meringue has turned into white color, satin or silky white color. It's not there yet. It's still a little bit on the runny side. So this will take probably a minute or 2 more, and I'll show you the peak when it's done. Okay, let's look at the meringue now. It's a shiny white color, and if I test the peak of the meringue, okay, for readiness, okay, I dip the whisk, okay, and take some of the meringue, okay, and you can see this is the peak of the meringue. It's still, curling on a little bit. It's not holding the peak yet. So this is not quite ready. It's getting there. So we need, maybe a minute or so, or less than a minute, to continue whisking. Okay, our goal is to have a peak that would curl a little bit. Okay, it's standing up like this, but would curl a little bit. So let me whisk this for about 30 seconds or a minute, and I'll show you what the perfect meringue peak should look like. So I just tested the peak of the meringue again, and it should look something like this. This is a perfect meringue. If that peak is straight up, that means that we've gone over, and it's going to be like a dry meringue, and it wouldn't taste as good. Okay, and also if I flip the bowl, so this is the bowl with the meringue on it, it's not gonna flow. Okay, so this is the perfect peak. So now I'm going to put it over a greased parchment line pan. So this is the parchment paper, and to this I also grease it, and I grease the sides of the pan. Okay, I don't put the meringue in a big blob and then spread it. I like to distribute it all over the pan. Makes spreading with the spatula easier later, and you're able to do it gently without deflating all that air in the meringue that you have we have worked so hard to make. Yes, I am. I'm making your favorite cake. It's gluten-free. So now I'm going to spread it with my angled spatula. Distribute it all over the pan. Very gently. This is a very simple recipe. It's got only 3 ingredients: the egg white, the sugar, and the cream of tartar. Okay, and when there's like the middle is thick, so spread out, scrape some, and put it to the sides with our lower. Okay, so now I'm gonna make it even uniform by using my angled spatula. Okay. Okay, so this will now go to a preheated 350 degrees oven. And we'll bake this for about 23 minutes. While the meringue is baking, I just put it in the oven. Okay, let's start making the filling. And these are the 10 egg yolks. Before I add the condensed milk, I try to, break it and kind of whisk it a little bit. And to this, I'm going to add all of the condensed milk. I whisked it and then zest half of this lemon. Just for added flavor. I found that adding this kind of like eliminates the eggy taste or smell. And by the way, I love my zester. This is called a microplane. Okay. Kind of like mixed it. For the vanilla, I'm not going to add it right now. I'm going to add it just before it's cooked. If I were to add vanilla bean, add it now, so it will be cooked with the rest of the mixture. So this is how it looks. Okay, it's runny. I'm going to put this now in the double boiler until it thickens. And this would take anywhere from maybe 12 to 18 minutes or maybe 15 minutes in the average, on the average. Okay, so this is how it looks like. I have the boiling water at the bottom. Make sure that the bowl is not touching the surface of the water, and pretty much you've got a double boiler set up right here. So I will continuously stir this until the mixture thickens. Okay, the filling is ready and I'm cooling it down over a bowl of ice. Now the meringue is also ready. So this process, the making of the filling, to thicken it to this consistency took about 15 minutes. And like I said earlier, I like to put it over double boiler. Cooking this directly over heat is faster. But it's kind of harsh and you have to pay attention. And I like to make this filling over the double boiler. It's gentler, but it's not gonna burn, unlike if it's direct heat. The meringue is fully baked, and as you can see, it's a nice caramel color all over. Don't worry, there's a little bit of swelling. That's going to deflate as it cools down. And I'm gonna allow it to cool for about 10 minutes. Then I'm gonna spread the filling over it and then roll it like a log. So this is how the meringue looks like out of the oven. I baked this for 23 minutes. It's a nice caramel color. Now the bubbles are starting to deflate. I let this cool for about 10 minutes before I take it out of the pan. I'm ready to remove the meringue from the baking pan. It's still going to stick to the side, so with a flat spatula, I'm going to scrape off the sides gently to separate the meringue from the pan. Requires a little bit of patience. Sticking. Okay, one more side. Okay. Now before I transfer it to a parchment paper, I'm going to spread confectioner's sugar over it. This way it's not going to stick to the clean parchment paper. So I spread sugar, powdered sugar or confectioner's sugar all over. And I use a little sieve here. You can use anything, whatever tool is available to you. You can use a spoon. Make sure you got the edge covered. This is about probably 2 to 3 tablespoons of powdered sugar. Okay, so I'm going to add, I put, a clean parchment paper over it. Okay, this is a very clean pan, especially the bottom. And I lay the bottom over the parchment paper and then flip it. Take this pan out and voila, here's the meringue. Good, okay. And the way to release the parchment paper from the bottom of the meringue is to do it diagonally. So I cooled this for about 10 minutes before I did this portion. And this is how the bottom looks like. Okay, so now I'm ready to add the filling as well. So now this is the thick filling. See how thick it is? But spreadable. Because the meringue is very soft. And similar to the meringue, when I spread the filling over, I do it in blobs, small blobs all over. This is all of the 10 egg yolks. So I just finished spreading the filling all over. So now I'm getting ready to roll it. Okay, so do it slowly. Okay, starting at the edge. So my hands are very clean. Then with this, break it. Wasn't very gentle. I used my hands, so I broke a part of it. Sorry. Don't do what I just did. Just be patient. With this portion, there you go. Brazo de Mercedes. I hope you'll find it easy to make it. If you have any questions, just message me. Or if this video is helpful to you, I just, the recipe, the ingredients are very simple, okay, and it's easy to make. It's